The phone buzzed in my hand, pronounced, insistent, cutting through the early morning hush of our kitchen. I stared at the screen, heart already thudding, coffee half sipped and growing cold. The metallic tang lingered on my tongue, sharper than usual, as if the mug itself knew something I didn't. Outside, the deep hum of traffic on High Street rose and fell through the open window, a distant reminder that life marched on beyond these walls. The message was from an unknown number. No name. No warning. Just a single photo attachment. I paused, thumb hovering. In this era of wrong number texts and spam links, I hesitated, until something told me to look. I tapped. Katie stood beneath the towering sycamores at Griggs Reservoir Park, her damp hair clinging to her temples, cheeks flushed from exertion. Beside her, Aaron, her personal trainer, had one arm draped possessively around her waist. Her smile wasn't the polite, congratulatory grin of a client after a good workout. It was intimate, soft and private. My breath caught. A pulse of heat flared behind my eyes. But I refused to let panic take hold. I set my phone down, careful not to jostle the image off the screen. I forced myself to breathe. In. 2. 3. 4. I studied the picture in detail, the way Aaron's fingertips curled against her side, the slight lean of her shoulder into his chest, the morning light glinting off his stopwatch. The timestamp, 6:12 a.m., confirmed it had been taken less than an hour ago. My gaze drifted to the empty chair across from me, where Katie would have sat yesterday morning with her post-run smoothie and bright "good morning" grin. The chair was hollow now, like an echo of normalcy. No anger. Not yet. Emotion would only cloud my judgment. I had learned that where raw feeling flows, mistakes follow. Instead, I catalogued. Location, Griggs Reservoir Park. Time, 6:12 a.m. Participants, Katie Reynolds, age 36, and Aaron Mills, age 28. The phone's low vibration finally ceased, but my mind rattled. Whoever sent the photo, whether from guilt, curiosity, or malice, had placed undeniable proof in my hand. Now it was my turn to choose how I'd use it. I reached for my coffee again. The mug felt heavier this time, loaded with unspoken questions. I lifted it, letting the steam warm my face, but the taste was all wrong, bitter with betrayal. In the background, our wall clock ticked steadily, each second a reminder that time moved forward, indifferent to personal tragedies. Katie had walked out of our bedroom this morning, lacing her sneakers and promising an early run. She'd kissed Owen's forehead, ruffled his hair, and told me she'd be back bright and early. He'd waved at her retreating back, trusting and innocent. Now I held the truth, she was not alone. I set the mug down, its echo softer than the clock's tick. I would not give in to panic. I would not confront her immediately. Instead, I'd observe. I'd prepare. Because Katie had chosen a path of her own, and I would choose mine. I used to think trust was unbreakable, like the foundation of our first home on Columbus's west side. Katie and I bought that brick townhouse when we were 26, enamored by its peeling shutters and drafty windows. Every room needed love, and together we poured weekends into sanding floors, painting walls, and planting hydrangeas along the walkway. We collapsed on the unfinished hardwood one evening, covered in dust, and laughed so hard our sides ached. It felt like building a world we could never lose. Then Owen came along. Tiny, perfect Owen, with his wide eyes and gummy smiles. Parenthood was a crash course in sleepless devotion, midnight feedings, diaper blowouts in the middle of the night, his first steps, wobbly and triumphant across the living room. Katie handled it all with a tenderness I admired. We became a team. I changed the diapers, she sang lullabies, I handled bedtime stories, she mastered morning routines. Our life was a steady rhythm of shared glances and quiet support. But rhythms can shift imperceptibly, until the music you know becomes a stranger's song. It started innocuously. That January morning, Katie announced, "I need to get serious about fitness." I smiled and nodded. After all, my wife was tired from long days at the nonprofit and late nights soothing Owen. She found Aaron through a neighborhood group, a certified trainer who organized 6 a.m. runs at Griggs Reservoir. I thought it was healthy, even admirable. Katie bounced into the kitchen some mornings, her face aglow, praising him for perfect form, new stretches, breathing techniques. Her excitement was contagious. I bought her new running shoes and a fitness tracker to track her progress. She teed off every morning, gleeful as a child heading to recess. I admired her dedication, proud of her discipline. Then the hours crept up. Saturday sessions replaced Sunday breakfasts. 2-day trail workshops in nearby parks ate into our weekends. I noticed her running log showed special sessions with Aaron, labeled vaguely. The signage in her social media posts always cropped him out or blurred his face, subconsciously or deliberately, I couldn't tell. I shrugged it off, caution or respect for privacy. Late-night phone alerts came next. A soft vibration in the hallway, a low glow of Aaron on the screen. I tiptoed over, only to find the call ended before I could ask. Just club logistics, she said the next morning, eyes misty with fatigue. I nodded and handed her coffee, trusting. Then the charges appeared. Boutique gym memberships downtown. High-end running gear from a store we never visited together. Boutique mall coffee dates, $1.25 lattes and pastries. She claimed charity-run meetups or sponsorship benefits. The receipts looked plausible on paper, but my gut clenched around them like a fist. My inquiries were always careful, casual. How was the half-marathon prep? What time did your retreat end? Oh, you went in his car. I wore neutral expressions, never letting suspicion seep into my tone. Her answers sounded rehearsed, but I wanted to believe her. Desperately. One evening, Katie left her tablet unattended on the countertop. The lock screen displayed her running app dashboard. I froze. My heartbeat thundered, but I reminded myself, I was not the outraged husband. I was the observer. The planner. I hesitated, then slid my finger over the scanner. The device unlocked. Inside, messages were mostly deleted, careful, cautious erasures. But buried deep in notifications, I found fragments. I can't wait for sunrise, just us under the trees, miss you already. A voice note lingered, 2 seconds of breathy laughter. Enough to confirm what I feared. I copied everything. Screenshots, voice note fragments, her calendar with Aaron's session, annotated. I created a hidden folder on our shared drive, encrypted it with a password she didn't know. Every late-night text, every odd receipt, every GPS data point from the fitness app went in. Friends grew awkward. At a backyard barbecue last month, I casually asked Katie's college roommate, Emily, about the fitness retreat. Emily's smile froze. She mumbled about charity sponsorship, avoiding my gaze. Our mutual friend Ben suddenly remembered something else he had to do, excusing himself mid-conversation. Their shuffling unease said more than words ever could. Meanwhile, inside our home, I recited our life together like a mantra. The creak of our porch swing, the scent of her lavender shampoo, the echo of Owen's laughter in the hallway. I clung to those memories, not out of denial, but to remind myself what had been at stake. Every morning, Katie would greet me at the table, bright-eyed, believing I was oblivious. She pointed to new running tights, shared a triumphant selfie. I gave her a polite smile and nodded, tucking observations away for later. My calm exterior was a shield, and my growing dossier was the sword. The hardest part wasn't uncovering the affair. It was stepping back, breathing through the betrayal, and reminding myself, emotion is fuel for mistakes. Preparation was power. Control was clarity. Katie was measuring her strength in kilometers. I was measuring mine in evidence. And soon, I would make my move. The moment I decided not to react with anger, I crossed an invisible line. From then on, every step was deliberate, measured like the stride of a runner pacing for a marathon. This wasn't about revenge. It was about protection, of Owen, of our home, and most of all, of my own sense of self. One confidant in blue I reached out first to Marcus, my half-brother, a 20-year veteran of the Columbus Police Department. We met one evening at a quiet diner off Morse Road, its neon sign humming outside while inside, the diner smelled of stale coffee and hash browns. He listened without interruption as I laid out the situation, the photograph, the texts, the receipts, the GPS logs. Stay calm, Marcus advised, voice low. Document everything, and don't let emotion rule you. Every word you utter, every move you make, can end up in a courtroom. He offered practical tips: record conversations only when both parties know, avoid illegal wiretaps. Keep a detailed log of events with dates and times. And above all, maintain the appearance of normalcy at home. It's the best way to avoid tipping her off, he said, sliding me a small notepad. Write down every odd detail, no matter how small. 2. Legal strategy with Emily. Next, I consulted Emily Harrington, a family law attorney reputed for her sharp mind and discreet manner. Her office overlooked the Scioto River, the afternoon sun glinting on skyscrapers as she greeted me. I handed over my organized binder, printed text threads, labeled screenshot files, credit card statements cross-referenced with calendar entries, photos from Aaron's car tagged by date. She nodded approvingly. "You've done exactly what you need to do," she said. "We'll file for divorce and a custody order simultaneously. The evidence you have is more than sufficient to demonstrate a breach of marital trust. More importantly, we'll focus on Owen's stability, your role as primary caregiver." Emily outlined each step, her voice precise. "Freeze the joint bank accounts. Open a separate account in my name for household expenses. Draft a proposed parenting plan emphasizing Owen's needs, school consistency, familiar routines, medical coverage. Secure notarized affidavits from trusty friends, like Marcus, attesting to my caregiving role." She stressed timing. "File documents on the day she returns from her next training seminar. She'll be off guard, and we'll serve papers then." 3. Technical measures and evidence preservation. Back at home, I turned detective. I installed 2 discrete, Wi-Fi-enabled cameras at the side and back entrances, legal in my own home, so long as they didn't capture public spaces. They recorded time-stamped video each time the door opened. I backed up each night's footage to an encrypted external drive. I expanded my digital dossier. Using shared account privileges, I downloaded Katie's fitness app data, locations, timestamps, route maps. I captured bank feed screenshots daily, noting any charges to hotels or eateries I didn't recognize. I even tagged suspicious entries with sticky notes in my ledger, color-coded by type, green for fitness expenses, red for restaurant charges, blue for unexplained withdrawals. For deeper insights, I hired a licensed private investigator. He trailed Katie discreetly over 2 weeks, photographing her meeting Aaron at coffee shops, loading his car for hiking trips, slipping into hotel lobbies. His final report consisted of high-resolution images and a timeline aligning perfectly with my own records. Seeing those photos, time-stamped proof, confirmed that nothing I had suspected was mere paranoia. 4. Securing the financial front. With Emily's guidance, I opened a new checking account under my sole name, transferred a portion of my salary each month, and set up automatic transfers for utilities, mortgage, and childcare expenses. I ensured all bills were paid from this account, neatly separating my personal finances from any joint funds Katie might try to access. I also had Emily draft a motion for temporary support, based on the disparity between my salary and Katie's fluctuating freelance income. This would ensure that, once filed, the court would levy child support and keep funds flowing until the final settlement. 5. Emotional resilience and routine maintenance. Throughout this, I maintained my role at home flawlessly. Every morning, I was the same husband and father, breakfast with Owen, reminders for school, hugs at the door. I attended his soccer practice, helped with homework, and read bedtime stories. Katie never suspected I'd turned our home into a quiet command center. I reserved my evenings for reflection and decompression in my workshop. Tools and wood became my therapy. The rhythmic sanding of oak boards grounded me, shaping raw timber into a functional bookshelf or a toy chest paralleled the way I was reshaping my own life, turning rough pieces into something purposeful. 6. Growing confidence and imminent action. Each completed task, each notarized document, each bank record neatly filed, bolstered my confidence. I no longer feared the confrontation. Instead, I grew eager for it, knowing I would face it with facts rather than fury. One crisp morning, Emily called with the final draft of the divorce complaint and custody petition. "All set," she said. "We'll serve her papers when she returns from the weekend retreat you believe she's taking. Are you ready?" I looked at my neatly annotated notepad, the surveillance footage summary printed and organized. I touched the clock on my workshop wall, the one Katie gave me on our 5th anniversary, and felt a quiet surge of purpose. "Yes," I replied. "I'm ready." The living room was hauntingly still, bathed in late afternoon light that sliced through half-closed blinds. Dust motes floated in the shafts of gold, as if nature itself paused to watch. On the coffee table sat our framed wedding photo, Katie and me in our best attire, faces alight with promise. It looked foreign now, a relic of something I'd chosen to leave behind. Katie entered quietly, closing the front door with a soft click. She paused when she saw the manila folder I'd placed beside the photo. Her expression flickered, curiosity first, then wary understanding. "Nathan," she said, voice steady but tinged with question. I stood and met her gaze, calm as the surface of a lake before a storm. "Please, sit down." She settled on the couch, knees together, eyes flicking between me and the folder. I took the seat across from her, folding my hands. The wedding photo's polished frame reflected my silhouette back at me, a silent witness. I pushed the folder toward her. "Open it." Her fingers trembled as she lifted the flap. Inside were layers of proof, high-resolution photos of her and Aaron emerging from his car at dawn, time-stamped, printouts of deleted text exchanges, all carefully labeled, and bank statements matching her fitness expenses to boutique hotels and restaurants. Katie's breath caught. She closed her eyes, as though bracing for impact. "Nathan, this. It's everything," I said softly. The morning runs weren't about Miles. They were about you and him. She looked up, tears glistening. Her voice cracked. "I never meant to hurt you." "You did," I replied, voice even. "But I'm not here to punish you." I paused, choosing each word. "I'm here to protect what matters most, Owen." She exhaled, a ragged sound. She reached again for the folder, fingertips brushing the photos. "I can explain." I shook my head. "I've heard enough explanations. I watched you delete messages, watched you slip away at dawn. I listened to you lie about trivial details. And I waited, to be sure." Her eyes darted to the wedding photo. She swallowed. "Is this really how you want it to end?" "It ended long before today." I leaned forward, pointing at the picture. "This was us. Promises made. But promises broken carry consequences." Katie's lip trembled. She stared at the photo, then back at me. "What are you going to do?" I met her gaze with unwavering calm. "I've filed for divorce. Custody papers are included. My attorney will serve you tomorrow, when you return from your retreat." Her shoulders slumped as though the air had been released from her body. She glanced at Owen's small chair in the corner. "Please, don't take him from me." "It's not about taking him," I said quietly. "It's about giving him stability. He needs consistency, one home, one school, one routine. I can provide that." Katie closed her eyes, tears slipping down silently. She nodded once. "I understand." I stood, the soft creak of my chair loud in the hush. "You'll hear from Emily." With that, I turned and walked to the foyer. The wedding photo's reflection lingered on the wall, two silhouettes parting ways. As I stepped outside, Katie whispered, "Nathan." I paused, hand on the doorknob. I didn't look back. The confrontation was over. The path ahead was clear. The courthouse felt impersonal, the echo of footsteps in marble halls and the hum of fluorescent lights overhead, but that was exactly what I wanted. Nothing dramatic. No grand statements. Just a formal setting where facts spoke louder than emotion. Katie and I sat on opposite sides of the polished wood bench. Owen was with the guardian ad litem, blissfully unaware of the legal choreography unfolding around him. Emily Harrington presented our agreed-upon settlement, primary custody to me, visitation rights for Katie on alternating weekends and select holidays, and a structured child support schedule based on my steady income. The mortgage and associated equity stayed in my name to preserve Owen's home environment. Joint accounts were dissolved, each party retaining separate financial independence. The judge reviewed the documents, asked a couple of clarifying questions, and signed off. It took less than 20 minutes. No impassioned speeches. Northwest tears in open court, just the quiet signature that finalized it. When it was done, Katie folded her papers and stood. Our eyes met briefly. There was sadness there, but no anger left on either side, only resignation. We opted not to speak, nodding in mutual acknowledgement, before walking out on separate paths. Back at home, I closed the front door behind Katie and felt an unexpected lightness settle over me. Owen greeted me at the bottom of the stairs, arms wide for a hug. His laughter was a balm, reminding me that, despite everything, the most important thread in this tapestry remained intact. Weeks passed, and a new rhythm emerged. Mornings were peaceful, oatmeal together at the kitchen table, lunchboxes packed, then the school run. Afternoons were for errands or projects, fixing the loose floorboard in Owen's room, tuning my old guitar strings, or planning the next piece of furniture I'd build in my workshop. Weekends belonged to soccer games and museum visits. My woodworking hobby revived a sense of purpose. The scent of pine shavings and the steady thrum of my belt sander became meditative. I crafted a small chair for Owen, smooth and sturdy, his initials carved into the backrest. Each stroke of sandpaper felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. One evening, Marcus stopped by with takeout and a grin. "So, have you thought any more about that blog?" he asked, waving his noodle-laden container. I poured 2 sodas and nodded. "I have. I started drafting a post about the importance of preparation over reaction, how planning gave me clarity instead of chaos." He clinked his can against mine. "People need to hear that. Not everyone has a cop for a brother or a sharp lawyer at their disposal." The idea took root. In the quiet spaces after Owen's bedtime, I began writing. I shared my story under a pseudonym, honest, methodical, free of melodrama. I outlined steps for documenting suspicion, legal considerations for custody, and emotional strategies for staying grounded. Messages trickled in, some tentative, some raw. A father in Denver writing at 2 a.m., unsure where to start. A mom in Seattle praising the calm tone. Each email reminded me that resilience isn't a solo sport. Our experiences connect us, turning private pain into collective strength. On a crisp morning 6 months later, I laced up my running shoes and took Owen to Griggs Reservoir Park, the same trail where Katie and Aaron once ran together. We jogged side by side, his small strides matching my steady pace. The sun rose pink and gentle over the lake, illuminating our path. I glanced at Owen's smiling face, at the empty shoreline beside us, and felt a quiet contentment. Betrayal had once stained this place, but now it marked renewal. With every breath of cool morning air, I felt lighter, empowered by purpose and protected by planning. And so we ran on.